Hello and welcome to my channel Enjoy Watercolour Painting, and my gallery here in southwest France, a very snowy southwest France. As you can see, the snow's falling, the street is white with snow. So here in the gallery I decided to go big with colour today and paint a sea and sky sunset picture that you can see here on the easel. This is the prototype. We're going to paint one together using rich colours, oranges, reds, purple, yellow, to create a mirror image of the sunset and all the contrasts we need to bring out the drama of it all. If you haven't done so already, please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave any comments you may have. I really enjoy your comments and I appreciate your support. So stay with me, we'll go through all the processes together, discuss the materials I'm going to use and the techniques that we use to create the effect. So let's paint. Now, as you can see, I'm all prepared with my materials. I have a 300 gram 100% cotton sheet of Fabriano Artistico. I have 5 brushes here to use. A number 10 mop brush, a number 4 mop brush, 2 liners, and the De La Rowney System 3 acrylic brush, which those of you who follow my channel will know I do use to move paint. It's a very useful brush to have. Here in the gallery we call it the magic brush because it certainly helps if we make mistakes or want to move paint without damaging the paper. But I'm going to use this brush in different ways today because it's very good helping to soften lines and create the softness that we have in the clouds and reflections on the sea. So this brush is going to come in useful. I have 4 palettes, 1 large blue palette, which is just about out of shot, but I hope you can see has got a combination of different blues, ultramarine, permanent rose here in the corner, some cobalt turquoise, Payne's grey at the bottom here. All these colours we're going to use. I have a red palette with permanent rose, Windsor Red Deep, and I think Scarlet Lake here as well. A yellow palette with transparent yellow and New Gamboge yellow, and an orange palette, again a little out of shot, with transparent orange and Scarlet Lake. So quite a selection of vibrant sunset colours to use. 2 pots of water as usual, one to wash the brush, the other to help to mix paint. So we're all set to go, so let's get on. Now I'm beginning with my size 10 mop brush and yellow. Always we start with yellow because it's a colour so easily lost and overwhelmed by other colours. And you can see that I'm applying the paint generously to dry paper, going in also with transparent orange and a hint of Scarlet Lake, and very randomly applying the paint, working out from the centre, really not that pre-planned, I have to say. Permanent Rose is the colour we're applying now, with a hint of blue to add a violet tone. Because we know blue and yellow make green, I'm using the violet as a barrier before I go into the blues, so we don't have the problem of green arriving in the sky, which is fine for the aurora borealis, but not for a sunset. The blues are going in mixed with the violet, and here I'm applying the paint a little bit too enthusiastically with more water than I should have, and you can see we've got lines appearing on that left-hand side. But this is not the time to panic. This is a very loose, very spontaneous picture, and try, if you get to this point and you think, oh, that doesn't look right, what should I do? The answer is just leave it. Carry on. It'll work itself out in the end, and you'll see what we do to remedy the situation. I'm just applying water along the working line now, because we're going into the second half of the paper where we have the wet sand and the sea. So this is going to be a much more horizontal and fluid application of the paint, just working horizontally and not going back into the colour once we've applied it. You can see there are blooms arriving on the top half of the picture where we have the sky. That's okay, it's fine, we can deal with that. But I'm trying very desperately not to have blooms in this bottom half where the wet sand and the sea is. So now I'm going back into the sky and adding more water to create more blooms. The water will wash the pigment and create irregularities, which will help us with this sunset sky. So now we've let it dry, and you see the result of that. We have the blooms and the irregularities in the top half, and I'm dividing the paper using the magic brush and a ruler just to define a line. And now along that wet line, I can apply a mix of Payne's Grey and Permanent Rose to give us a very deep purple. This is the line of the headland. I want it to be variable in colour. I don't want it to be a solid dark line right across the paper. And so I'm doing the left-hand side and then just using water to wash out the colour, intensifying the colour on the left, as you see, and letting it run along, because we want that intensity of contrast. And the top half of the hillside, the headland, I want to be paler and just catching the light. So I've added a hint of pink and just taken the water to meet the colour and left it to run itself. This is great fun to do because the water just helps you out and moves the colour in a very natural way. Now I'm just using water and the liner brush to take the colour along for the remaining part of the headland. I don't want the colour to be too generous here, so I'm just adding a hint of blue at one end and letting it run, so that little bit in the join is very pale. This is where the light of the sunset is dazzling the view. Now, using the liner still, I'm adding the ripples of the tide coming in. Just little wiggly lines really, not too regularly placed. If you do try to paint this image, don't get too bogged down in the detail and just enjoy it. Tell yourself it's just a piece of paper at the end of the day. There are things that are not working on the painting we're doing just now, but we have the magic of the brush here, the acrylic brush, And so the blooms that we got, I'm going to soften now with a damp acrylic brush, the magic brush as we call it. To make it more cloud-like, I'm using a round brush stroke just to blend the colour in places. Nothing can be pre-planned in this, and you learn lots if you make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. I try to pass the information on to you so that you don't make the same mistakes, but watercolour is like that. You don't always win, and perfection is sometimes very elusive. Now I'm trying to move my ripples with the yellow brush, with the acrylic brush, and I'm struggling because I left it a little bit too long. Try not to scrub away. If you do the same thing, try not to scrub away too much at the paper. You don't want to take the surface off. Although this is a very strong, very good quality 100% cotton paper and will put up with quite a bit of punishment. It is moving a little, but I was hoping that the blue would be washed into the spaces between the waves. That's really not happening very much at all. And where the tide meets the headland in the middle of the picture, it's a little bit too defined. So now I think, okay, we'll use the liner and add a little bit more colour that we can move more easily, and will move because now this area is damp. Not wet, just damp. So it's not going to run everywhere. It's just going to create that blended effect that we wanted. So there's often a solution to a mistake, and sometimes mistakes make for really lovely effects. So it's a gamble, and as I said, don't get too bogged down in the detail. It's all dry now, and I can go in bravely with more of my purple to create more clouds in the area where we had the blooms, the area that we modified with the acrylic brush to round them off and make them more cloud-like. So this is kind of reinforcing that process. I'm using a combination of water to dilute the paint on the paper and stronger pigment. You never really know how it's going to turn out. This is the excitement of watercolour. You don't put it on and it kind of just stays there. It develops a life of its own, which is what I enjoy and what I like. Can be scary, but don't let it scare you. Just enjoy the moment. Again, we're using the acrylic brush now just to soften harsh lines. And if you find there's a line appeared where you don't want it, especially a straight line in the sky, just use this short flat acrylic just to help to move the paint, and it will very successfully. It helps to blend colour and soften areas which are too harsh and too straight or not straight enough. It's a great brush. I want the reflection of the headland in the soft wet sand, and so I'm now using my number 4 mop brush just to apply that same mix of ultramarine and permanent rose. I'm washing it across, but notice I'm not doing any circular brush strokes, just horizontal, because this is a wet area and we want that feeling of the water, the reflection, and it's all horizontal, moving the colour across. Now, of course, we've got yellow there below that reflection line, which I temporarily did forget about. I'm adding more water, and oops, I think if it goes down much further, we'll have a green look to it. So this is where we dilute more and then use just a moist kitchen roll to stop it going further, just to keep that reflection in the right place and avoid a green mix arriving. And here we are. I'm leaving it to dry. You can see I've added a darker cloud at the top. I think it's done. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's inspired you to have a go using watercolours in a very spontaneous and loose way. I certainly enjoyed painting it. I have the two pictures here, get them the right way around. Two sea and sky sunsets. Wasn't without incident, didn't go right all of the time. It never really does. And the purpose of my videos really is to help you to enjoy your watercolour painting. You'll never be without incident, you'll never be without problems, because watercolour is like that. How you deal with it, how you fix it is all part of the fun. So if you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave your comments, leave your suggestions, what subjects you would like me to cover. I paint a whole range of subjects. I enjoy the challenge of trying different things and different techniques. So stay with me and we'll enjoy watercolour painting together. Till the next time, bye.